joins us on the telephone today, and we have a line open for you. It's 349-WCCS, 349-9227 if you have a question for Bob, who joins us by phone. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Lovely. Lovely. It's a beautiful, beautiful day here, and we're just enjoying the weather a lot this week. And I'm sure that there are a whole lot of farmers putting up hay this week that are also enjoying the weather a lot. Yeah. I mean,
right. Yeah. Get a chance where we can string together enough days in a row to actually get that done properly.
Yeah. And doing oats and wheat and all of that, getting the straw put up, all of that good stuff. Hey, a lot of farm damage or rain damage in our area in northern Indiana County this week. And one of the questions I have for you today has to do with areas that get washed out. And we saw one place where it was washed, all the topsoil was washed away. It was down to clay. How quickly can those areas recover, and how urgent is it that we get some new topsoil on there and get that area reseeded before the fall?
Well, we try to prevent as much erosion as possible once that soil's gone, and usually when we get those big ruts or caverns sometimes, those washouts where it goes down to the clay or down to the stone, all that topsoil goes downstream somewhere. It's going into a ditch along the road, which then gets carried, on and on until we get to a stream or then to a river and on down. So as much as possible, we try to prevent that and have things in place to help prevent the movement of that water off-site.
Yeah.
Now, with our terrain, our hills, and all these, that's why you see contours. You go out to other parts of the country where the ground's flatter, they don't even know what those things are. But here we have contour strips. So, and depending on the slope and how you're farming around the hill, will dictate how wide that is.
Yeah.
So some are very narrow strips, but they all roll around the hill, and you're trying to maintain a certain grade there so that it's as level as possible as you go around, and you still get some slope in there. But and that's why sometimes you'll see corn in a strip or soybeans in a strip, and then you might have a hay strip or a sod strip there, and then you'll go back to a corn or soybean or other annual crop, just to help hold that soil in place. So once it's gone and you get those big washout areas, the sooner you can get that shored back up again, because the next rainfall, it's just going to start and make it worse. Even worse. Yeah.
Hey, Bob, we have
bigger, wider, deeper.
We have a caller now. I need to double press your button. If this hangs up on you, you call me right back at the same number. Okay. Just somebody.
All right.
I'm going to double press this button, which I must do. You're still there?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if our caller is still there. Good morning. Oh, it looks like we lost Bob. He's going to have to call us right back. So, caller, good morning to you. Bob's going to call back here in a second. You can go ahead and tell us your question, though, and then we'll get Bob right back on here in a second or so.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we do have the blight in the state, just here, Indiana County, and if we should be start spraying every day.
Okay, Bob. The question
every week.
The question, Bob, is what's the latest on blight? Do we have blight in Indiana County, and how often should we be spraying?
Okay. Yeah, I got logged off, and I called back in, so I didn't hear the question. Thank you for repeating that. So as of this week, as last week, we didn't have anything in Pennsylvania that was confirmed. So we go to this week, and since last week, we've had one confirmed sighting of late blight that's in Erie County. Now, that was in a commercial field of potatoes. So that's been found, sampled, identified, and I suspect by this point in time taken care of to preserve the potato crop in those those fields that were affected.
Yeah. Caller,
so we now have one confirmed sighting up in Erie County, but otherwise there have been no other confirmed reports of late blight within the state.
Uh-huh.
When we get into, however, any storm front that we get that comes through can potentially carry those late blight spores. So we always kind of have to be looking and watching for those fronts that are coming through because they can start and spread that around.
Mm-hmm.
So on drier weather conditions, where we get sunny days, we're still going to get dew at night usually. So that's still considered a wetting period and can give a fungus, one of those disease-causing organisms, an opportunity to sporulate and cause infections.
Mm-hmm.
So really, from a spray schedule perspective, you might be looking at 7 to 10 days, 7 to 14 days. The drier it is, the longer you can go. The wetter it is, the more wetting periods, either from rain or dew, or a combination of both, then you might have to shorten that up to every 7 days.
Well, let's ask our caller. Caller, are you spraying now?
No, I sprayed 2 times, and the last week or so I haven't sprayed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So he's doing precautionary spraying, Bob, and you say that's okay?
Yes, which is what we have to do for these diseases. We have to try and prevent them, minimize them by treating the crop ahead of time. Usually once it gets infected, then it's more challenging, especially with something like late blight, which attacks very quickly and causes the plant to decline very quickly within days usually. We have to have that preventatively on there so that when the spore starts to develop, then the material can do its thing and help prevent those spores from growing and causing the infection.
Very good. Very good.
Okay.
It's a little bit different.
You're welcome. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, and the plant keeps changing. That's the other thing we have to remember is the plant keeps changing every day. So if it's a indeterminate plant, which means that tomato plant keeps growing and keeps setting new sets of flowers,
Mm-hmm.
then you continually have new growth, new leaves, new fruit developing. And so that, if you sprayed a week ago, that plant has changed to this point in time, so you have unprotected tissue on there that's susceptible to getting, attacked by whether it's insects or diseases.
Yeah.
And those can be both bacterial as well as fungal.
Now, in terms of the spray that they're using, which I think it's generally a copper sulfate, is that correct?
Yeah, and that'll vary. But yes, the copper compounds,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a whole different variety of those fungicides. Those are available, and they will work to help prevent disease development, and then the mancozebs. There's other groups of compounds that will also work against that. So the chlorothalonils are very commonly used, and they come under various trade names. The mancozebs, the coppers. So those are all options that are available.
Since we are now beginning to harvest, we're getting tomatoes off of our plants now and bringing them into the kitchen. And if we have just sprayed, how important is it to be sure that we wash them thoroughly?
Well, that changes by whatever material you're using, because on the label it will indicate a days to harvest. So there's a number of them that have 0 days to harvest, so you can apply it this morning and harvest this afternoon. There's others that might be 1 day or 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to read the label of the product you're using to get the right interval there, if there is one, between application and harvest.
All right, very good.
And then of course, there's all kind of, it rains, the weather, the wind, the dust. So there's all kind of particulate matter that that can also be on that edible part of the plant that we're harvesting and consuming. So just, birds, all that kind of stuff can happen. So,
well, yeah, you have to wash everything that you get out.
Yeah, when you harvest it, you bring it in, you wash it, and then two, so anything, of course, anything that we're eating fresh without cooking, and cooking can also be called a kill step.
Mm-hmm.
So in the food safety process, so anything that you're eating raw, of course, you want to make sure that you've rinsed that off and done that before you eat it raw. And then anything you're going to cook, that gives you an extra layer of safety there, because many times with any kind of disease-causing organisms, that cooking process, if we do it properly, will kill any organisms that might be on there that could be harmful to us.
All righty. There he is. He's Bob Pollock. Thanks for coming by.
Hey, you're quite welcome.
In your own little telephony way.
Yes.
Thank you, Robert. We'll
Amazing
see
technology.
next week, okay?